is not an ad. This is my internship. And right now, I'm on the way to the office for a learning event.
Scab, I like to use my illusion, imagine the nights with the one who got away. Little lady, where do you lay? Are we still alive? Ooh, are we still alive?
And you might be wondering, how did I get here? And you ask a very good question. There are 3 specific steps that led to this moment. The first one would be a lot of LinkedIn and a lot of interviews. The very first thing that I did when I found out that I had a required internship was to, of course, update my LinkedIn and eventually update my CV or my resume. To be quite frank, I still don't know the difference between a CV and a resume, but feel free to discuss it down below. What's the difference between the two? After I updated my resume, it did take a lot of applying. LinkedIn has an easy apply option. That was one of my favorite things ever. My only tip for the application process is apply to all of them. It just means that you have more chances of winning. And that is exactly what I did. You don't even have to apply to one single position in one company. You can apply to all their openings, or at least all the openings that you're interested in a single company. I know there are career fairs. Unfortunately, I am an introvert. I don't really have much friends in school. So I found out that there was a career fair when the career fair was done. So maybe have friends in school. But eventually you will catch the eye of an employer and they will be scheduling an interview with you. In my experience, I've had 2 interviews. The first one is where they call you and ask you the very basic yes and no questions. For example, will you be available to render X amount of hours? Will you be available to work on a Monday to Friday? Things like that. It's sort of just the base level interview where they are determining if they want to put you through the next level of interview. After you pass the first level of interview, you're going to be going through the more in-depth qualitative one-to-one with a supervisor or the CEO or COO of a company, especially if it's a startup. I think those are the interviews that I enjoy the most. Yes, they are wanting to know if you're qualified for the job, and that includes getting to know you deeper. The interviewers just really want to know if your personality, hard work, etc. matches the values of their organization. My best advice in doing the interviews is to really just be yourself. The last thing you want to do is pretend you're someone else. You get in and they expect you to be that person every single day when it's really not you. So just be very honest. The second step is decisions, goodbyes, and celebrations. A bit of a funny story. I was accepted to an internship position way before we were required to start. I accepted it because I didn't believe that I was gonna get a better offer. It was quite difficult. Something that my dad told me while I was in my deciding season is that you want to be with a company that you see growing, because as they grow, you will grow with them. So I sort of took that advice and I said yes to a company. After a week or 2, I received another offer from a different company, and their offering was very generous, to say the least. And it was quite difficult because I had already committed to a company. I asked a lot of mentors. I asked my dad again. I asked my friends. I asked my family what I should do. I really deeply prayed about it because to me, it was such a big life decision. Very long story short, I had to say goodbye to that first company. And something that a mentor told me about saying goodbye is to be very honest about it. At first, I wanted to lie about my decisions for leaving, but then my mentor told me to just be honest. When I did it, my previous employer really appreciated it, and it gave me good rep with them because they know that I value honesty. They even told me that in the future, they would still love to collaborate with me. So being honest did something right. Right after I said goodbye to my very first internship employer, I celebrated and onboarded with my current employer right now, which is Foodpanda or Delivery Hero Philippines, and I think I made the right decision. Well, I hope so. All of this leads us to the third and worst step of all. It would be preparing and accomplishing all the documents needed. Now, it will be different from every school, but at least for Ateneo, we needed a Memorandum of Agreement or MOA, an internship contract, an NDA, NDA or non-disclosure agreement, a health certificate or a waiver of health certificate if your company would not require it anymore, and an internship plan. Food Panda already had an existing memorandum of agreement with Ateneo, so they already have a partnership collaboration whatsoever. So thankfully, I did not have to do that. Now, the internship contract is a very different story. You have to get all the signatories. That includes me, my guardian / my parent, my department chairperson, and then representatives of the company. And these people are very busy. And an added layer of complication with the internship contract is that you have to get it notarized. Some notary publics are picky in a sense that they want all signatures to be physical, or what we call wet signatures, but some notary publics are quite lenient, so they would accept e-signatures. My recommendation is to first go to a notary public and determine what are their do's and don'ts, what are their requirements. After that, you can start preparing your internship contract. But through all the stress and mental turmoil, do I think it's worth it? I say yes. Just because there are things I learned and love about my internship, the holistic answer is that I feel like an adult. Now, I did pursue an internship offer that was paid or that provided an allowance just because I believe that time is money. Now, based on my experience, what I do is essential to the daily operations of the company. I know you will not be doing what regular employees do as provided by law, but you still are contributing something of value to the company. Now, I know it is a privilege to get into an internship that pays, and I don't look down on students who have unpaid internships. I only question companies that offer unpaid internships. But since my internship does provide an allowance, it does feel like I'm getting a salary every single month, and that means that I get to help in paying the bills. But there's also a shallow answer, which is that my internship perks allow me to have ingredients to bake a carrot cake. And cook hot pot. A month now since I started my internship, and even though I have been able to adjust, now everything hasn't really been smooth sailing. Given that we are paid interns, we do have quite a lot of work, and I have much less time, and I'm more often stressed now. There is more pressure now, given that everything I do has money on the line and it's someone else's money, in comparison to if I fail a subject, it's my parents' money. But now, if I fail at something I'm doing, it's stakeholders, shareholders, or other people's money. But there is a lot of valuable information, insights, and reflections that I have obtained from this experience, and that is mainly I now know myself better of what I would want to and would not want to do in the future. What type of job, what industry, what tasks, what responsibilities, what are the specific things that I'm looking for in a job or in my future career. It was also through this experience that I realized that I don't really care how much people pay me. I just really want to do something meaningful.